You and I both know the right finishing move paired with the right wrestler can be a magical combination. But pro wrestlers often agonize over choosing the right finishing move. And getting this right has nothing to do with inventing something brand new or even coming up with a cutesy name for your finishing move. It's about understanding the behind-the-scenes processes which eliminate the unusable finishing moves from the real candidates, and then applying these to your own work. Today, I want to give you my 5 cheat codes that you can start using immediately. And I don't doubt many of you are going to get to the end of today's video and realize you've got to abandon the finishing move you've been using for years. But for many of you, the first step in the journey toward having a finisher which becomes synonymous with your body of work starts right now. I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. If you are as passionate about the craft of professional wrestling as I am, then you have landed in the exact right place. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and join the Till We Make It tribe. Subscribe right now. Today, we're going to explore my 5 finishing move cheat codes. And as we work our way from number 5 up to number 1, we are going to unlock the exact right finisher for you. As we dive into the work, I want to pause for a quick second and thank some of my newest patrons over on Patreon. So thanks for coming on board, Brandon, Dustin, Dwayne, John Mark, and Julio. I am grateful for your support. Till We Make It simply wouldn't be possible without you. Number 5, alignment. Does your finisher contradict your in-ring value? This is a massive problem area right now. Probably more than 90% of working pros are getting this wrong. I want to make sure you get it right. So let's get really specific. What are some in-ring values? Those are things like size, strength, technical ability, high-flying acrobatics, speed, ruggedness, etc., etc. Your finisher can't contradict what your in-ring value is, or it's costing you reactions from the audience. In order to get this piece right, we actually need the finisher you're doing to confirm your in-ring value. I want to give you a very practical example so you can start applying this immediately. Let's say that your in-ring value is your raw strength. That's something that you add to the card. But your finishing move is a moonsault press. This does not confirm your value to the audience. Actually, I would argue it contradicts it. Leave that moonsault for one of the wrestlers whose value is high-flying acrobatic skill. You need a finisher which is a feat of strength. In other words, if your value is your strength, your finisher confirms that value. Choose something that shows off your raw power. If you've got a finisher right now which is contradicting your value, I guarantee you it's hurting your reactions from the crowd. Are you currently using a finishing move? Will you tell me about it right now, down below, in the comments? And if it's confusing what it is, give me a little description to help me understand. Number 4, out of gas? We're going to kill some finishers right now, I have a funny feeling. Can you still perform this move beautifully if you're blown up? If you get to the end of an epic 25-minute match, can you still execute your finishing move beautifully? Or does it end up kind of looking like a melting ice cream cone that got dropped on the sidewalk 2 hours ago in the summer heat? If you can't excellently execute your finisher, even when you're gassed, I think you're going back down to number 5 and you're going to start this process all over again. My next cheat code will require you to gaze into your crystal ball a little bit. I need you to foresee the future. But before I crack that one open, I want to invite you to come and join me over on Patreon. It could be you I'm shouting out in a future episode. The moment that you join the Till We Make It Patreon, you'll instantly unlock the 229 exclusive videos that only my patrons ever get to see, and a mountain of other exclusive pro wrestling content as well. Memberships start for as little as $5 US, which is about £4 sterling. It's about 8 Australian. Till We Make It continues this year only thanks to the support of my patrons over on Patreon. Link below in the descriptus. Number 3, future casting. Up front, you should know, this next cheat code does not work 100% of the time, but for many of you, it's gonna save you some stress and aggravation in the future, so I feel like you should consider it. And I need you to cast your gaze into the future a little bit, think about your long-term goal in pro wrestling, and answer this question. Where do you see yourself wrestling 18 to 24 months from now? Are you about to go to work for TNA? Maybe you envision touring Mexico with CMLL next year. Or you feel like within 2 years, you're likely to be signed by the WWE. Whatever the case is, look at the finishing moves of the entire active roster of that promotion, where you foresee yourself going, and make sure you're not duplicating something someone that's already there is doing. If you foresee going to work for TNA, you don't want to be doing the same finishing move as someone that's already established on TV. If you're about to sign with the WWE, envisioning the Superman punch as your finisher is not the most prudent idea, because I guarantee you, the producers there are not going to allow you to do that move when you get assigned to the NXT brand to start paying your dues. Be a little strategic here. This next one is critical, so listen carefully. Number 2, the gauntlet. You and I have got to put your finishing move through this gauntlet. It's made up of 8 questions. So consider the wrestlers on the roster of your home promotion and answer these questions. Can the finisher you have selected be applied to the heaviest wrestler on the roster, the lightest, the tallest, the shortest, the most flexible, the least flexible, the most experienced, and the least experienced? And if you get less than 7 yeses from those 8 questions, I think it's back to the drawing board. Number 1, where the big pops live. While I think you're going to want to road test any new finishing move in a minimum of 5 unique scenarios, my top cheat code today is one you can begin to implement immediately. Does your finisher earn a peak reaction from the audience? And this is essential because we typically deploy our finishing moves during the climax of the match. That is the moment of highest dramatic tension. So these must be paired together perfectly. Let me break this down a little bit. Let's say that your current finishing move typically earns a reaction which feels like a 7 out of 10 from the audience. That's not bad, but if moves you were using earlier in the match are earning an 8 or a 9 or a 10 out of 10, you have some revising to do. Because if these other moves are earning that peak reaction and then it's a step down for your finisher, your matches will actually feel anticlimactic. Now I know there are heels who design for anticlimax as a tactic to frustrate the audience, but placing that particular scenario aside, if you've got other moves which are earning the peak reaction and your finisher is not, you've got to do some revision. It is as much about the what as it is about the when. Getting to the right moment but delivering the wrong move will feel anticlimactic. But if you stick with these 5 cheat codes and you do the work, I have every confidence that you will be able to earn epic reactions for your matches by pairing the right moment with the right finishing move.